we should be live.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. We're just gonna, as per usual, just gonna wait for Inferno's web thing to refresh, so I can get the link, tweet, and we can get going. There she is. Boop. Make sure that's the right link. It is. Good. Okie dokie. How you guys all doing today?
Me? Good.
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Okay, well, whatever. I wanted to have a little chatty chat beforehand. So once again, we just have 3 players. No Spyro/11 or Kriana. Although, and we just realized next week is Easter. So
Yeah.
we're going to let you know what the deal is. We might, by the sounds of it, we might be able to do a session either the day before or day after or something like that. We will let you know to do makeup. But in the meantime, we have, when we last left off, the gang was on their way back to the Rhapsody, correct?
Yes, I do believe so.
Yes. After infiltrating, for lack of a better word, Sweet's mansion, in order to find not only the final statue, the piece of the puzzle to get to this golden rabbit that Tyrath has been looking for, but also to plant some evidence implying that the now dearly departed Albert Sweet had some influence on the assassination of the mayor, Paul Hill. So, if you guys are okay by it, I will just kind of take narrative control and move you guys along towards the Rhapsody. A-okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry, I nabbed a drink of water there real quick. So, it takes approximately 20 minutes to get from the outskirts of the Velda city limits back into the main thronging downtown core of the city itself, in which you park yourselves in front of the back of the Rhapsody. And when you arrive, you are greeted by Jalea, Yasmin, and Lee, who tell you that while you were gone, Ellie got into her head that since all the bad people from the Order of the Lapine were gone and dead, and the ones that were left are those strange, Mackenzie, that strange Mackenzie couple, it wasn't fair to leave Frank by himself. Sorry, Frank's home all by itself. So she rallied the rest of the group, Marlis, Basilisk, Ezex, etc., to drive on over to Frank Patterson's estate to help clean things up and make it just like new. And if you were successful, that Frank would like you to bring everything that you found and all the statues to his place.
Okay.
Yasmin gives a bit of a shrug, and she says, I tried to tell her that it's best if we all stay in one place until we hear what happened with you guys, but she was pretty insistent, and eventually, well, the rest of us are here myself, Jalea are here because we wanted to let you know, and Lee wanted to stay here to keep an eye on our 2 guests down, and she gestures to the earth beneath her, and then towards the sewer cover. You know, them.
Sounds good.
So, how did everything go?
Al's very, very quiet. In fact, he's been very quiet the whole ride home. He's not talking. He's not even making eye contact. He's just kind of, I don't think daydreaming is the right word, but that kind of look.
Okay. Hello? Yasmin snaps her fingers. Earth to Al. How did everything go?
Oh. Patrick, why don't you tell them?
Oh, we got into a bit of a trouble, but doesn't seem that anyone really noticed us doing much of anything. And we got our goals and a few other things sorted. As Patrick looks over to Al a little, some of us came out a little scathed.
Jalea tilts her head. First, she tilted her head when she heard Al's distracted tone of voice, but she steps a little bit closer and grabs onto Al's wrist, and she says, "What do you mean, scathed? What's the matter, Jordan?"
Nothing, time won't heal.
That's not an answer, she says firmly, giving your wrist a hard squeeze.
Al will, at that and at her voice, he'll look at her straight in the eye and he'll say, I suffered a spell that made me imagine in vivid detail the most horrific things that could have happened to you and Dad. It was very unpleasant, but I will be fine.
Oh, she says as she gently lets go of your wrist and takes a step back. She looks like she wants to say something as a follow-up, but she catches herself, and she just stays quiet and gives a little nod. After a little awkward silence, she says, well, I'll go grab Mim, and maybe we should all head over to that Patterson's home.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
Does sound like a plan.
Okay. Anything you want to do or pick up here at the Rhapsody before I shuffle you narratively off to Patterson's Manor? If there's any items that you would want to fetch or make sure you have on yourselves, this would be a perfect time to do so. In addition, I believe the pack that the backpack that leads to the Golden Place, in which all the other statues are here in the Rhapsody as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't have taken that to the funeral. That would make no sense. Great.
Yeah, actually, we did not take much with us to the mansion for
You sure did
obvious
not.
reasons. So
Mm-hmm.
Al will, you know, I'm going to be honest. I don't think Al will have the presence of mind to put on his SDC armor, but at least he would have the presence of mind to grab something more than just a switchblade. He'd I don't remember if he had sharp or not, but if he didn't, he would take it, and he'd take one of the blacklight blades as well.
Okay. Tom, Patrick, anything of note you want to pick up?
You know, just in case, I'll bring my SDC armor, and my holy blade. That's it.
Oh, okay.
I think Patrick is going to store his shotgun in his car.
Okay.
Besides that, definitely bring the backpack. I think a good phase belt might be nice.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's actually called a phase belt, but
No, it's not.
Let's see. I think that'll be it for now, because I think it'll take
Okay.
too long to think of anything else.
All right. Fair enough. So with that, before you guys get going, Lee asks, and he says, is it all right if I stay behind here? I don't mind I would like to take part, especially since we've been chasing these statues for quite some time, and it's important to your lizard mage friend, but I don't entirely trust or am comfortable with those people who are hiding out in the vault in the sewers nearby this place. They've kept tight and kept to themselves pretty darn well, but if someone comes poking around the Rhapsody or something happens, it would be good for me to at least, he says, I could cast a magic pigeon to send you guys an alarm if necessary.
That seems like a good idea.
I was actually thinking of maybe asking you to come with us. If you had been with us at the mansion, it would have been of great value, given that you know more than any of us about magic, dark or otherwise. But you make up a good point as well.
Well, we could risk trying to take these two along, but he says, well, with everything that's been going on, their faces being seen might be a bit of a risk.
Well, and Al suddenly looks up. Patrick, you can do the pigeon as well, yes?
Yeah.
So maybe if we run into another problem like that, we can just ask Lee.
What do you mean?
Send him a pigeon with a note with the question of... I don't know. It's hard to focus right now. But if we come
it's
across...
pretty obvious what Squee's saying.
Yeah.
Is because, radios are big and cumbersome, you could set, if you have another problem where you need Lee's help, you can just send a message his way.
Okay, yeah,
and he
we
can get to it right away. So he's just Squee was just teasing apart in his head, hey, it'd be nice to have Lee there, but we are still within communications range with him if we really need his input.
Oh no, I was just role-playing.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah. That's where the confusion came in, but that sounds good to me.
Great. Perfect. Then Lee will be the only one standing back in the Rhapsody, while the rest of you once again bundle into your vehicles. Now it is late Friday evening. All right, it's probably around just before dinner time, so around 5 o'clock or so, by the time you hit the road once again to Frank Patterson's estate. Thankfully, he is only about a 15-minute drive away. And do you take any special... is there anything special you want to do while you're driving? Any special route? Anything you want to do in particular? Or do you want me just to drive you right up to the front of his estate?
Let's see. Family was there. There was something we wanted to be incognito to keep him comfortable. Would anybody be tailing us? That is a pretty good possibility. So I guess Patrick will take a
scenic
a
route?
more convoluted route.
Okay. How about we allow that be kind of a streetwise check, right? Because, knowing you've been in Velda City for a little while now, you've driven around quite a bit, you'd know the streets, the sideways, the byways, and how to... I think that makes more sense than land navigation, which is more in wilderness areas. Sure. So why don't you give me a streetwise check? Make it harder by 20 because it is still relatively a new city to you, and let me know how much you succeed or fail by.
I failed by 14.
Okay, all right. You take a few side streets, an unconventional route, and you don't get yourself lost or anything like that. And you simply add another 5 minutes onto your journey. So about 20 after 5, you reach Frank Patterson's estate. You can see the front... Oh, wait, let me guide you on over. Where are you? Patterson's home. There you are. back towards Patterson's estate. You can see 3 other vehicles that you recognize that were in your parking area in the Rhapsody, parked along the street as well. And in addition, you can see that many of the blinds are opened and the light inside is shining out. The front door has a still awkward plywood replacement, but you can, from the street, hear the sounds of a little rummaging around, light conversation, and whatnot. The exterior of the building still has a few not artifacts, but a few, what's the word? There's some evidence of the police being here earlier on, specifically the fence door to the backyard still has some of the police line draped across it, and stapled to the front door is a small notice saying that this estate is still under police investigation, etc., etc., etc. But other than that, there doesn't seem to be any outside interference, nor anyone on the street currently.
Cool.
Well, shall we go inside?
Yes.
Okay. Entering the estate itself, prying open the door a little bit, you come across a Lavin who is in the midst of moving one chair or another. He gives a surprised little grunt in greeting before he announces to everyone else that... Oh, wait, no, sorry, Lavin's with you. I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Bear?
Yes, we'll say Bear.
Wait, it's an imposter! Kill him!
No, it's just...
Okay.
I gotta keep track of my NPCs here. Anyway. Bear is moving a chair by the entrance hallway. When you enter, he gives a small grunt in surprise and then a look of relief before he, in his soft tone of voice, lets everyone know that you have arrived. Sure enough, greeted by your companions, the first and foremost is, of course, Ellie, who simply says, "Oh, good, you found out. You found we were here. We were just getting mighty restless, you see, and we thought, it's not nice that Frank's place got all torn up, so I thought we'd all get together and give a little fixer-upper. Isn't that right, Frank?" You see Frank emerging, narrow-shouldered, still in his disguised hairdo and trimmed beard and coiffed hair, come around the corner, and he goes, "Oh, yes, I suppose something had to be done. I was going stir-crazy in that crawl space in your little home, and by the looks of it, the Ortholopine has been defanged, so to speak. But more importantly, did you get it? Did you seize the last statue from Sweet's insipid estate?"
Yep, we have it.
Good. And the others too. You brought the others.
Yeah.
Well,
We
yes.
have them as well.
Well, then don't stand there gawking in my hallway, boy. Come on in. Come, all of you. Come. As he says, extremely animated and excited. The Frank Patterson looks like he's doing almost a small dance when he's excitedly hopping from left foot to right foot as he guides you in towards his main living room. There are a few glasses and a wine bottle and a brandy bottle out that some of your friends were partaking, and Frank Patterson just extends his arm, pushes the glass and bottles aside to clear up the table as he gestures to the now clear maple table and says, well, lay them out. There's something that has to be unlocked here. The Golden Rabbit, that was the idea. You get all of Eugene Neal's statues together, and they will point you towards the Golden Rabbit, the transmundane. Finally, Oh, I never thought this day would come. You know, I was very lucky you miscreants came through my door when you did. I thought that was the end of me. But no, this is the beginning. A new beginning. A new transmundane. Yes, yes.
Al will lean towards Tom and very quietly say, "It just sounds exhausting to talk like he does."
Yeah, he's very animated. He's very excited.
And then I guess, Patrick, you would have the bag, right?
I sure would have the bag.
Okay,
Tom
so
will
now
just set down the sparrow statue on the table and just look at Patrick. Well,
Oh, excuse me. As he then goes out of the room, he's not going to try to freaking go into another dimension in front of this guy.
Okay. Okie dokie. So you head into the other room. In the meantime, Alicia, Basilisk, and Ezex come down from the second floor. Ezex, his nose completely wrinkled in a look of disgust, which is new for the little terrier DB, since normally people have that look when they look at him. As you hear him muttering towards Alicia and Basilisk. He says, "Why the hell would he keep jars full? I just put mine on the ground." And which the other two are very poor at consoling the confused, disgusted Ezex. In the meantime, Patrick, you step into the kitchen area, perhaps?
I actually will flag down the few NPCs that I see. Basilisk.
Okay.
Ezex.
And
What
Alicia?
else did you say? Alicia?
Yeah.
And he says, I might need some help carrying some things.
Okay. They say, willing to assist you whenever you're ready.
He gets everyone together and he stops for a second. Quick show of hands, who's not okay with magic?
Ezex narrows his eyes a little because, well, define okay. You're going to cast a spell here or something?
I'm going to go to a magic place and then back. Would you want to come or no?
Sure, says Ezex. And Alicia says, I don't think Alicia's actually, sorry, out of character. I don't think Alicia's been in the Golden Room, has she?
Not many people have.
Yeah, I don't think any of our NPCs
I'm-
have. Just the
yeah, I'm
players.
not sure if she has.
Yeah. So Alicia's ex. No, Alicia also nods. She says, "Yeah, that's fine. You guys have been in and out of there, a few times already. I imagine there's nothing dangerous to worry about." And she gives a reassuring look towards Basilisk, and he shrugs and he says, "Out of all the weird shit in this dimension, this is probably going to be nothing. So go ahead."
Right. Just join. Just make sure you're touching each other in some way.
Ezex gives a bit of a snort, and Alicia gives him a little clip along the back of the head. She's like, "Come on," as they hold hands.
And Patrick will Draconic say, "Oh my goodness, it's been too long since I've said this." I think it was like homeward. Fuck.
You can look at your notes later, Patrick. I'm not gonna not let you go there without saying the word. It's fine.
Yeah.
You activate the backpack, and in a flash of light, both you and your three companions disappear into the Golden Room. Sure enough, it is just as you left it, a small house whose walls, furnishings, and everything is bright, twinkling gold that almost has its own inner light. As Basilisk, Ezex, and Alicia get there, it is Alicia and Basilisk, who have to rub their eyes getting adjusted to it, while Ezex takes a bemused look around. Alicia says, "My goodness, we've been here for so long, I almost forgot what real color looked like." "Oh, wow." In which Basilisk interrupts and he says, "Say, Pat, crazy question. Is this real gold?"
He looks at it. He continues to look at it and go, "Well, I haven't checked if it was gold, but I don't know if." He stops for a second. Maybe it is.
Ezek starts sniffing around a little bit. Goes, "Oh, well, this is weird. Smells strange, though. We're, he says as he looks over towards an item on the kitchen table, a simple bowl, as he puts his claws around it, and he says, "Hey, what would happen if I just take this with me, huh? What do you think I could get this? How many credits I could get for this?"
Patrick thinks to himself, you could probably get a few. I'm not quite sure how much a bowl would really go for. As he actually stops and goes, "Hey, Ezex, you're good at sniffing out a lot of stuff, right?"
"Oh, yeah. Trouble, magic users, psychics, the supernatural, food, and my favorite, booze."
Patrick, he nods and then, while turning, gets kind of a hardened face as he goes over to a drawer and shifts it open.
Your friends
inside,
look on in anticipation. Go ahead.
Inside is a small, unmoving squirrel.
He says, as Ezex looks at the unmoving squirrel in your paw, and he says, "Well, I hate to break it to you, but that ain't a real squirrel."
Most of us know that. I have had concerns about this in the past.
Okay.
It seemed to have maybe been possessed or controlled at one point, and I haven't trusted since.
You want to know whatever crazy mojo that was in it is still in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. This place all around is kind of throwing my nose off a little bit. I'd either have to stay here for a little while and get used to it, like filter out. Or if we can take it back to where we're from, I can, have a better gauge of it. But it's up to you, of course. You wouldn't have kept it hidden here if you thought it was safe out there, right?
Well, it would be... He stops for a second. No, I still have no idea what it could be. My best guess is that it's linked with something in where we're from.
Okay. Well, tell you what then. You just leave me alone with your little squirrel thingy for, give me I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes or so, and I'll let you know. How's that sound?
Sounds perfect. I cannot thank you enough for doing this.
It's no big deal, he says, giving me a shrug. But, he says, now that you mention it, he says, let's just say you owe me a favor down the road, huh? Nothing major, just about the same thing, right? I won't have you sniffing anything, but if I need you to identify something for me, maybe we could help each other out.
Patrick stands there for a second, shifts his body weight to a more confident one. All right. I do have something you might like.
Oh, well, see, now you're talking my language, says Ezex, his eyes and ears perked up, his little gnarled left ear giving a little flick.
I have my hometown's recipe of moonshine.
Okay, all right, so that's what it is. I do this for you, and at some point, hopefully in the very near future, you whip me up some of that homebrew moonshine.
Patrick, like, nods. I haven't really ever made it before, but I can always give it a shot.
Well, Ezek says, well, I ain't no brewer, so it's better you make it than me. I'll drink it. You make it, I drink it. How's that sound?
Fair enough.
All right. So with that, Ezek heads over to award one of the golden sofas in your cozy little one-story golden room, while Alicia and Basilisk reconvene with you and ask what you need to help carry.
Patrick goes over to a kind of like a wardrobe looking thing and opens it up. He goes, these statues would probably be really hard to carry out, and I'm concerned about kind of sticking my arm through the door to place the statues and then trying to pull it back in. I'd rather have it come out at the same.
Sure. Alicia and Basilisk and Ezek, once he's free, they'll take a statue or two each to free up your hands. So I'm going to time speed head a little bit. I'm going to have two conversations, one inside the golden room with Ezek and Patrick, the other one outside the golden room too. So I'll finish off the stuff inside the golden room. So about 18 minutes pass or so, and then Ezek gives a bit of a bark, I guess you could say, for Patrick to come on over. He says, well, I don't know if it's good news or bad news for you, but I spent a good time sensing this thing, and I got to tell you, I don't detect not even one slight essence of the paranormal or the supernatural, evil, good, or otherwise, he says. I got a good nose for it, and I got a good sense for it. My kind of do. That's why the Coalition bred us for it. And I can say, without a doubt, that there is nothing possessing this thing. There isn't a hint of magic. There isn't a hint of boogie-woogie stuff. It's just a squirrel with metal on the inside. That's it.
Patrick Patrick nods and then like smiles a little bit. He like stops for a second. And the smile like leaves him. Would Ellie like the squirrel?
Wait, who are you asking that to?
Just out loud, generally to himself, but Ezek is there.
Yeah, Ezek just looks at you blankly and gives a little shrug of his little terrier shoulders. Your friend.
Right. That is really good news. Thank you. And I will, when I get a place to make it, we'll try to whip up my
Moonshine.
moonshine.
Big jug of it.
Jug of it, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I always thought moonshine came in jugs, right?
Patrick will then start talking in length about the many different containers moonshine can be in.
So with that, you reemerge. I'm assuming you guys would all leave the golden room with all the statues in tow. Okay, great. So I'm going to just quickly dovetail off into the other group, waiting patiently for Patrick. All this time, Frank Patterson has been inspecting the sparrow statue, looking at every inch, giving us a few hums and snuffs to himself. He says, yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's been tampered with. No chips, no modifications, just like my pictures, just like my pictures. Good. We have to talk about something, says Patrick as he looks towards all of his guests, which is, of course, what you plan on doing once you find the golden rabbit. I have to warn you, as a protector of one of the transmundanes, it attracts a lot of very dangerous attention.
Well, our plan is to take it and leave. Basically.
To take it far away from here so that it can't attract dangerous attention.
Exactly.
Really? Patterson, for the first time since you've arrived, seems to mellow out a little bit as he runs his fingers through his beard and he says, yes, I suppose that's the best thing to do. Items of power have always attracted undesirable people. Fools and maniacs wanting to cling on to it. It's best if it's taken away. I was hoping I could study it for a while, but considering you've done much of the seeking, it's only fair that you do much of the keeping as well. I only ask you this. Once you go looking for the golden rabbit, once we decipher the little puzzle here, I want to come with.
You want to travel with us?
No. I want to come with you as you track down the golden rabbit. I want to know where it's been hidden all this time. Call it professional curiosity. But I would like to know where it's been buried and what state it's in. And more importantly, whatever happened to Eugene Neal.
If I understand correctly, the transmundane has been a goal, I guess we should say, for a good deal of your life, has it not?
It most certainly has. Ever since I got the first whiff of it back in Africa. I've been obsessed since.
I wouldn't want to deny you the culmination of all your years of effort.
Good. Then it's settled. Thank you for your professional respect, he says, as he gives another little titter.
Al looks to Tom and shrugs.
Tom will just stare at Al and shrug as well.
Like, eh?
With that, after, a little while longer, Patrick, Alicia, Basilisk, and Ezex emerge, all with the different statues in their hand. Let me bring you on over to that. Give me a moment. Where is the statues? Here? Yes. Okay, there they are. The bull, the fox, the monkey, the rhino, the sparrow, the turtle, and the octopus. Do you lay them out onto the big maple table, Patrick?
Yeah.
Perfect, says Frank Patterson, once again animated, almost circling around the table like a cat sizing up, I don't know, a bird in a tree. And he says, well, now we just have to figure out how they all work. The idea is that they all should connect one after another in a little row. Yes?
Yeah.
Patrick nods.
Well, if you folks aren't going to dive in, I most certainly am, says Frank.
I guess Patrick will start sorting this to the best of his ability.
Okay.
Let's see. What sort of?
You can make it as simple. Pardon me?
I'm just trying to figure out what sort of knowledge would help him with this.
Well, I know it's been a few sessions, but really what it was that the tail or a front paw of each of the animals lines up with the tail or back end of the other. You did this before when you just had the turtle and the rhino, but now that you have all the pieces, it just takes some time to do so. So I'm not going to punish you guys because this quest for these statues has been like 12 episodes long. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fair to say that based on that prior knowledge, and a little bit of fiddling, you're able to find the right knock to the right thing. So sure enough, one after another, in the order that you see there, actually, bull, fox, monkey, rhino, sparrow, turtle, octopus, they're all lined up on one row from end to end of the table in Frank Patterson's living room.
All right.
Frank Patterson waits for a moment, looks at them with a hush, like waving his hands in the air like everyone to be silent, as he cocks an ear out as if listening for something. Then he lowers his hands, his lower lip puckered out, dejected as a sigh. I expected something spectacular to happen, he says.
Patrick fiddles for a flashlight and tries to shine it into one of the ends.
Okay. The octopus end or the bull end?
Ooh. Let's go with the bull.
Okay. Shining it through the bull end, interestingly enough, has the light be caught up in the octopus. Like it doesn't go all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
It stops at the octopus.
I guess we'll try the octopus then.
All right. Shining it through the octopus, oddly enough, a very, very thin silver line of light shines through all 7 statues. The light seems to be reflecting off the one of the sides of the brick fireplace of Frank Patterson's. It's very thin, very snake-like almost. About approximately a foot long.
I think it's working.
Yeah. Now I think we need the final piece.
Final piece? Asks Patterson, surprised.
According to when we were at Sweet's house, we got a few cryptic messages, and one of them was that this would be a key, a compass. So, Al, do you still have that map?
Yeah, Al, as Tom's explaining, Al's beginning to unroll the map and look for a place to put it so that the light's shining on it.
All right. You spread out the very large map before you. Are you almost like hanging it in front of you in your arms and like maneuvering to the front of the light to see, like you're holding up the map in front of you, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, either that or depending on the size, maybe like ask someone to help me hold each end.
I'll help.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Holding each end, you guys maneuver the map to the front of the statues. And after a little bit of maneuvering, it appears that the maps perfectly line up. See that little red line? It's not an actual red line in the world, right? But it's just me as a GM differentiating it. In the map that you took from Sweet's little hidden alcove, that thin red line is exactly where the line of the light is shining up. And in the end, the very, very tip appears to be,
a little X.
A little X.
Ooh. There it is. There it be.
Wow.
Frank
Here.
Patterson gives a bit of a bluster and he says, well, those cunning little bastards. But how would Neil know of? He says, those caverns aren't a part of, those aren't mining caves. What are those supposed to be? Tunnels in the ground?
I'm guessing that's what it is.
I'm sorry, you know this place better than we do. What's at the X?
Nothing, he says. Nothing at all. Patterson takes a moment, and after a few minutes, his head pressed up against the map almost expectantly, he says, well, that's what it must be. Yes, there's tunnels that have been dug throughout the entire southern portion of the area. I can only assume, since Sweet was in the mining business, he's either cleared out the holes themselves or cut them off. I suppose there's only one way to find out. He says, now to enter them. He ponders for a moment. Well, here, Sweet's estate, it looks like that blackguard would have perhaps a tunnel leading from his estate down there. And of course, there's the Grand Quarry Mining Group. They would have access into the mines here.
Well, do you think there's a huge problem with going to the X, seeing what we see, and
Well,
digging?
Maybe.
Depending on where it is, it might attract a lot of attention, but also there's a specific reason why it's trailing a certain distance. I would imagine that if we don't go to that other end of that line, then something bad might happen. Like there might be traps.
Do we have a way of telling maybe how deep it is? Do we have any sort of way of tracking the statue?
No, says Patterson. I don't see any sort of depth measurements here in the map, and as I said, I didn't even know these existed.
Because the problem is, it could be 6 feet down, it could be 600 feet down. We don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of which, tracking, I'm gonna ask one of the NPCs to take. I'm guessing that Tom would bring his sketchbook and pencil with him at all times,
Sure.
right? That's fair to say?
Your character, sure.
Okay. I just want him to mark where the light would be. Like
Oh, okay.
along-
So you make
yeah.
so Patrick does have to shine it through the entire time.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
you make a little
exactly.
mark. You make a little mark there. As you're doing so, Yasmin gives a hum for background. She says, "Hold up a second, Patterson. How long have you been here in this city?" Patterson says, "Years and years and years." She says, "Well, that is. I only see two possibilities here. If those are actual tunnels that people dug out, I don't care if you're an Order of the Lapine that has only 12 people or an entire city works department. That takes time, and that takes money, and that takes a lot of earth moving around to be piled someplace else. A project of that size wouldn't be easily hidden. There'd be a paper trail, there'd be evidence, there'd be people who would remember it, talk about it." She says, which means one of two things. These tunnels are very, very old. Or, she pauses, maybe it wasn't built by men.
Yeah, we already had to deal with something that definitely. And he's going to recount when he was almost swallowed by Verasimov.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not human.
So out of character, I'm going to ask real quick, because I want to make sure we're what is it? Checking off possibilities that we know for sure not to be. Do we have any reason to believe that maybe someone didn't just dig a 4-foot hole and stick it in there?
I mean,
Like,
it
is
could
there
be.
anything that has told us? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so either.
No, I guess
Okay.
not.
Then Al would say, well, there's a third possibility, which is simply that Sweet or some people dug a hole through magic or other means and buried it. I mean, it wouldn't have to be too far down to ensure it wouldn't be disturbed as long as they're not remodeling the city.
That's true.
But that said, we should also check and see if there are any records of any paper trail of anything happening, because if there isn't, then that would eliminate another.
Patterson shakes his head and he says, I admire your enthusiasm, but the problem is I thought something along the line years ago. Remember, I've been after the Transmundane and this golden rabbit for a very long time, and I acquired the two statues on my own without a little bit of duress. If there really was a massive digging initiative here in Velda City, I would have found it. My newspaper clippings, my endless and endless hours at the library, my subtle and not so subtle interviews with city fathers and etc. He says, no, I think the young lady is right. This was either here before or someone else dig it, or, as you said, young man, this is just some sort of ruse. Perhaps these were just plans for Sweet. Maybe he was planning on digging this out. Maybe these aren't even here. We made the assumption.
It was under too much protection to be a ruse. I'm willing to bet that it is there.
Well then, these
Patrick,
lines look like tunnels.
I would agree. And Patrick, you have a spell, don't you, that lets you sense magic?
Patrick looks up for a second, just looking at the map. Oh, yes, more of a active magic, and it's not enough to go much deeper than maybe like 800, maybe not even.
Perfect. Then we can eliminate that third possibility pretty quickly. If you can't sense it, then it's not buried shallowly. It's probably in a tunnel.
It also has to be, well, he stops for a second. If it's just 4 feet down, then I do have other means of being able to sense it. But
honestly, I think Alicia has hit the nail on the head, but I'd hate to go through a bunch of effort if we don't eliminate the easier options first.
Yeah, we can check out the easier options, because for all we know, it could be anything, any kind of lines. Geological surveys. I don't know.
Al would nod. Well, wait. Where's this? And Al will point to where the red line starts. Is this anything?
Patterson examines it for a moment. And he says, well, I haven't been to Spiller's Creek in a long time. I have no idea.
Maybe it's only can be accessed. I mean, there's got to be a reason why an entire path was drawn and not just an X, right? Maybe you have to enter, or maybe there is an entrance in that area and you follow that path.
Either that.
Yes, as Patterson, you could be right.
Yeah. It could be that, or it could be a way of lining up the solution with the map. But that seems kind of convoluted. I think you're more right. Yeah, it could be both.
So, maybe we make a quick trip over to where the X is above land, see what we can find. Probably don't find anything, but just in case. And then once we eliminate that, we head over to Spiller's Creek and see if we can find an entrance of some kind.
Yeah, I think so.
Patterson says, well, even on vehicle, to that point, Spiller's Creek would take an hour drive, and to where that X, I can only assume it'd be about an hour and a half. We have some daylight now, and I admire your enthusiasm. I'm ready to go if you are.
In all honesty, I think I could use rest before I go anywhere.
True. Also, it might be a good idea to do some of this under the cover of darkness. So maybe we reconvene at Spiller's Creek tomorrow in the dusk. Check out the X first, right before the sun goes down, and then when the sun goes down, head over to the beginning of the line.
Alicia says, well, there's another thing. It sounds like you guys have been having one heck of a time. How about we take a small team out to where that X is? In the meantime, take a look, do just a little bit of digging, or she looks over towards her companions and say, or we grab Lee and see if he can't sense anything, and let you know what we find.
That
then reconvene at Spiller's Creek.
That could work really well, especially if we were to have both Leah and Ezex together.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say out of character. So out of character, I know, especially since we just talked about it, or Patrick did, that Ezex can track such things. But would Al know that? I mean, being a collision
he's a dog
agent?
boy.
He's a dog boy. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to...
No, just refreshing. Yeah, no, and I appreciate you not
it's cool.
gaming, Squee. That's great.
Yeah.
But yes.
All right, so then Al would say, Ezex, if there's something magical buried several feet underground, you think you could sniff it out?
Yeah, depending on how deep it is. If it's shallow, I've sniffed out worse.
Well, there we go. I mean, if you don't mind.
Yeah. He says, the sooner we get this, the sooner we're out of here. The sooner we're out of here, the sooner we're moving on to what, we're in these blasted places for your little boyfriends and the feathers and stuff.
Yes.
What?
Al says.
He's referring to the spirits of light.
Right, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
Well then, he says, who wants to go with me? Says Ezex, proudly puffing up his chest. Basilisk obviously volunteers. Bear will go along with, as well as Jalea. Well, Yasmin for sure. And Jalea wants to go, but we'll see if Overprotective Brother says yes or no.
Overprotective Brother is trying his hardest not to be overprotective, so
Gotcha.
He's not gonna. Yeah.
Well,
all right. So
Tom
she'll
will
volunteer.
Okay. Tom will suggest maybe Jalea comes with us back to the Rhapsody. I mean, it would be fine if you wanted to head with your friends, but the Rhapsody's safer.
Jalea looks over towards Tom, but no, not directly at him, but in his general direction. And she says, with a firm, determined look on her face, she says, nothing about this place is safe. We've been hunted by a strange cult ever since we found out about these statues and beforehand. I'm safe nowhere. And in fact, the last place you guys were, almost by the sounds of it, got my brother killed.
Point taken. Never mind.
She says, and Jalea says, a little headstrong, I'm a little sick of just standing by and waiting, reacting. I'm confused. I don't really like this place, and I still do not like magic as far as I could throw Bear over there. But I'm not useless, and I've worked with Jalea and Basilisk and Ezex for a long time, long before we were reunited. I'd like to work with them again and find out if we can pluck this stupid golden rabbit statue from the earth quickly, then I couldn't be happier.
All right.
Al, almost voicing what I just said, Al looks at Jalea and he says, I'm sure you know by now every ounce of my body says that you should stay with us. So at least be careful and don't stress me out more than necessary.
Jalea says, I'll do my best. But, in all fairness, every ounce of my being wants to tell you to give up magic. 'Cause see what it almost did to you? See how much it has shaken you and distracted you. Next time you might be so lucky. But we've had a long conversation about this, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more in the future. You trust me, and I'll keep on trusting you.
I trust you.
So, with that settled, the only other person who's volunteered to go is Marlis Stotch, since he's been doing a little of research, as much research as he can, at Patrick's bequest of this torpid anathema, and he thinks that knowledge might assist the small party of 4 in their efforts to locate and dig up the golden rabbit. So the question is, and I'll do this kind of out of character, narratively speaking. First of all, you guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They aren't going to be able to tell you immediately if they have success or failure. Should they just go there and meet you at Spiller's Creek, or that location by Spiller's Creek? What, tomorrow morning? Or at a predetermined time to let you know what they found, or if they have the golden rabbit with them, or how do you want to time this out?
If we're not planning on going to until the cover of darkness, that's like almost 24 hours. So that should be plenty of time, right? For them to drive the hour and a half.
Oh, yeah, plenty of time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So maybe we just do that. Look, we need the rest anyway. We'll just wait to hear back from you at the Rhapsody before we decide what to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, just send them on their own and come back to the Rhapsody. Okay, all right, that works. Great, says Ezex as he hops out. At which Frank looks between Ezek's group and your and the player characters, and he says, well, now you have me here at a loss. You guys have 2 separate plans, and both of them might lead to the golden rabbit. I don't know who to stick with. I can't split in 2. Well, he says, I guess I'll stay with, and he points towards Al and Tom and Patrick and Ellie. You, since you, Nah, toss it, he says. I'll go with you, little one, as he points towards Ezek, and Ezek says, okay, Gramps, but on one condition, don't ever call me little one again. Which, being admonished, Patterson says, oh, well, fine. All right, well, you want to go off now? We can take my vehicle. And if the players are A-OK, Ezek, Julia, Yasmin, Basilisk, Marlis, and Robert Patterson will head on, will depart, go to where that X is, sense things out, and go from there. And meet back, whether success or they've met a barrier or they can't find it or it's too deep, and they'll reconvene at the Rhapsody. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
Awesome. So the 6 of them check their equipment. They will pop by the Rhapsody a little bit to pick up a few personal affects before departing. So now the rest of the group, which involves Ellie, Lavin, McLaughlin, Bear, August, and yourselves. I'm just quickly checking. And Blink. I almost forgot Blink. I almost forgot Lee! And Blink are there at Patterson's home. So the question is, do you plan on getting rest here at Patterson's estate? Or do you want to go to back at the Rhapsody and rest there?
Personally, I think it's too dangerous to leave Lee all by himself for such a long period of time.
Yeah. You know, as much as I like Frank, I like my own bed better, so...
I like you, Frank, just not better than a
Well,
feather.
Frank's not there anymore. Frank's not here, man.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right. That's right, yeah.
All right, you guys head to. I'm planning on kind of clipping things along, moving things along here at a decent pace. So if I move too fast, just tell me to stop or pause, or we'll retroact to some things. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So the rest of your motley band heads back to the Rhapsody for some of you, a very well-deserved break. Alicia has decided to close the Rhapsody for another night, just in case. And late... Oh, yeah, go ahead. I hear an intake of breath.
No.
No? Okay. And in the middle of the night, just before midnight, around 11:30 or so, it's up to whoever might be awake or not be awake at the time, but the tattooed woman who's been hiding out for a long period of time there. Give me a second. Scrolling up. Sierra? I'm almost 100% sure it's Sierra. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I'm checking my notes. I think I have the wrong notes. I do.
I
God damn it.
sympathize so much.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Take the fight to the Order of the Lapine. Sienna. I was close. Sienna is rummaging around the kitchen looking for something to eat.
I think Al would be deep in meditation trying to recover. He used
Okay.
up a lot of PPE, so...
Okay. Clang. Mm-hmm.
I think this might be more of a I don't know your sleeping thing, Tom, but I've throughout the entire campaign had Patrick be
a very heavy sleeper.
That and like he's usually, even when he's awake from being asleep, he's super drowsy.
Oh,
That's right.
well, Tom would be groggy, but probably would be woken up either
Okay.
by himself or Blink, and he would go down to investigate.
Okay. As you move to the little kitchen ensuite. Oh shit! I should actually move you guys over to the backstage. As you move towards the little kitchen ensuite, you see Sienna, a large snake tattoo along her elbow, which leads up to a dagger with a drip of blood on it, which leads to a shield on the back of her left wrist. You can see that pushing through the cupboards, and she says, "Oh, garbage, absolute garbage." Noticing some movement of you entering, she goes, "Oh, sorry. I was looking for something to eat. We ran out of food down there. And frankly, I figured in the dead of the night it'd be safe for me to rustle up something edible. I don't understand this, though. You have no colon leaf. You have absolutely a sad low amount of sodium. I just don't get it."
Well, if you want, I can cook you something up. I'd need to make myself some coffee first, though.
"No," she says, "I don't need you to cook up something." But she pauses for a moment and gives a wry smile. "Although, now it's just you. I have a question for you."
What's up?
"Well, you're one of them that deals with Tyrath, right?"
Yeah.
Well, tell me, what do you make of him?"
He does us favors, we do him favors. I mean, we gave him a rune staff. That was the first time we met him. Um, we also got him some magic mushrooms.
She raises up a hand, and in the palm you can see the tattoo of a star. Hold up. You found a rune staff, and you just gave it to him?
Well, I mean, we didn't really know what it was. Didn't really care. He just appeared on our ship or on a robot and said, "Hey, I want that." Okay. Because supposedly that belonged to him already. So.
She says, "Do you do favors for favors often?"
Yeah. I think we've done like 6 or 7.
Really?
I haven't been counting. We even went to a planet called Mars and got some big beetles. Actually bugs.
Well, she says as she ceases her rummaging around and sits in a nearby chair, propping her booted feet up onto the table. Little bits of earth falling onto it. She says, "I do have to say, you are strange and a little bit of a scatterbrained bunch, but this plan of yours tend to work out, and by all general assessments, you seem pretty competent. Maybe down the line, we could do favors for each other."
Yeah, probably. I mean, we'll probably end up working together again because we both work with Tyrath, so...
Oh, I don't think that will be very likely, says Sienna. This is going to be my last favor for Tyrath.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. But that's not to say I'm not looking out for new opportunities. So, if at any point you're back on Earth and you need somebody killed, look for Sienna from Clan Alchion.
Okay. You sure you don't need any food or anything?
Oh, I'll rustle something up myself, he says.
Alright.
Oh, wait. One last thing. Ferris is dead.
Ferris? How'd he die?
Yeah. I don't know, she says. And I'm assuming he's dead. He hasn't moved or tried to communicate or anything for the past 12 hours. He's just standing like a rock laid out. So I've tried everything to rouse him. So once you find this golden rabbit thing, you should just be aware of that too.
Well, alright. I hope he's alright,
pauses
though.
for a moment. Pardon me?
I hope he's alright, to be honest.
She
He
shrugs.
seemed like an alright person.
Well, if any of you are a rock doctor or a geologist, you can head on down there. I'm going to still be up here for a bit, trying to rustle in some food.
Okay. And he's gonna stand there awkwardly for a bit and go, "Alright, I'm going back to bed. You have a good luck."
Mm-hmm. She says as she opens up opens up the fridge. Yep. Rest lightly. You never know.
True. And he's gonna go back to bed.
Okay. You guys good to carry on? Anything you guys would do in character over the evening or anything like that? Or am I good to just keep us rocking and rolling?
I think we're good to keep rocking and rolling. Would Al be able to get like a full night's meditation?
Please mark off the PPE for the for gaining Let me think. It'll be fine. It'll be around 6 o'clock. You get back for 6 hours.
6 hours. Got it. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
No problem. A little after midnight, you can hear, a few floors down, the front doors of the Rhapsody burst open, and Marla Stotch giving yells for help.
All right, I'll rush down.
Yeah, Al would rush down too.
Okay. Patrick?
Patrick would definitely scurry down as fast as he can. How soon in the morning is this?
It's just after midnight.
Oh, and somebody bursts in. Yeah, no. Patrick would definitely try to get up and get things sorted. He might be a bit late though.
All right. Rushing downstairs, you catch Marla Stotch coming up the stairs as you're going down. His hair, his balding hair, is absolutely wild, and it looks like there's little tiny cuts on the tip of his nose and his cheeks, almost like he's run through a thorn bush. His clothes are completely disheveled, and his dress shirt underneath his top cloak is caked in mud. His left trouser leg is torn, as if something was tearing at it, perhaps a clawed hand or something like that. As he says in a babbly, frankly voice, "It's got them! Hey, it's got them! Oh, disaster! I could barely drive here. The state I was in, and I don't know how to those contraptions, but I made it
down. Who has who?
The thing, the anathema, it reached up from the ground and scooped them all up. And then with that, he gives a bit of a wooziness to it, and you can see him get his eyes begin to glaze over. You're not too sure if it's panic or lightheadedness, but he hasn't completely passed out, but he's rocking on his feet a little bit, and he's leaning backwards back down the steps.
Al's going to catch him, and he's going to...
He sees him by the shoulder.
Yeah, sees him by the shoulder. Am I the only one there so far? Tom, you came, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Tom's like right behind you, and Patrick's coming down the stairs soon after. The other, your other friends are being roused too, but they haven't arrived at the stairwell yet.
Al says, "We need to go. We need to go now."
No, don't go. Don't. You can't, says Marlis, blinking a little bit. He says, you'll end up just like them. And he gives a bit of a gulp, and he breathes in a few times deeply as if to calm himself. And he says, "I'm very sorry. I'm not making much sense. But it was very, very disturbing. We arrived there. The sun was just setting. And sure enough, we arrived at the spot, and Isaac found something. He did know that he did sense some sort of presence underneath of the earth. That Patterson fellow got very frantic, very animated, very excited, as he is, and he ran for the shovel in the back of his car, and he started digging. Just fine. We all waited. I was speaking with your sister by the vehicle when we heard an awful, sharp-pained bark, and before I could see it, in the hole that Patterson had dug, horrible, horrible vines, like that night the other night when we stopped that ritual, you see. When you stopped that ritual, from what you described to me, horrible vines up into the earth made of flesh and wood, and not just a few, dozens and dozens of them. It was like it was pushing through the earth itself, and it seized them all. It tried to grab my leg, but I got inside the vehicle just in time. But it grabbed them all. I don't think they're dead. I don't think so. They were screaming as they were pulled into the earth, but I don't know what's happening to them. I have no idea, but it is horrible. Oh, they asked me to help them, but I couldn't. I had no idea. I didn't bring my weapon, so I came here for you.
It's okay. You did the right thing. Despite like Al's calming voice, he looks up at Tom and Patrick like wildly.
All right, let's gear up. Let's go.
But where? I mean, he has a point. If we go right where they went, what's going to stop us from getting dragged down too?
Well, it's either there or the beginning of the line. Would you like to check? Which one would you like to check?
Al kind of shrugs. He's like, well, my instinct says go to where they were, but my training tells me that's foolish. We don't have enough information. We'll end up right where they are. No.
And my instinct tells me that the more time we debate, the less time they have. So we can talk about this while we're getting there.
Yes, agreed. Let me go get my things. And Al's like dashes up the stairs.
Okay.
Tom will as well.
All right. So, gentlemen,
Yes.
go ahead, gear up. Tell me what you're taking with you and who you're taking with you.
I think I'm gonna put on my SDC Under Armour now.
Yeah. I'll bring my...
Take a few minutes. Yeah.
Let me check something real quick.
So, thing is, I'm not going to take the power armor for two reasons. One, it would take longer to put on, and two, we have to drive there. So, that'd be a really awkward fit. I'm just going to do the under, like the underwear Under Armour that goes under my clothes.
Long johns, gotcha.
Yeah, the long johns.
All right.
I am going to put on... This is going to look weird, but I'm going to put on the heavy network agent armor that I still have, my one pair. And I will try and put a overcoat over it. It's still going to look like a robot from 1930s, but that's fine. As far as weapons go, I'll bring my holy sword, but I only have enough charge for one activation. I don't have much ISP other than that, so I'll bring 2 vibro swords just in case. So that's what I'm bringing.
Did you did you regain the 6 hours worth?
Yes. That gave me just enough to activate the holy sword once.
Got it. I see.
It's 40 ISP per. So.
Yeah, that, and then of course that, and he's going to take sharp, the blacklight blades, a couple of the knives, just the regular, well, the vibro knives, but in this realm, just regular knives, and of course his medical kit. So, and the just in case the PPE necklace, he's still wearing that.
Okie dokie.
Patrick is taking his shotgun, whatever may be left of his MDC equipment, which is now SDC. Equipment meaning armor, be specific. Let's see. Besides what he usually carries with him, which is Ed, his necklace, and a ring. The moonlight ring, I guess I'll call it. specialty shotgun ammo, normal shotgun ammo. I think
Okay.
those are all the important ones.
All right. Okay. If you guys are all set, I'm gonna move things forward quickly too.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as your friends go, I see no reason why they would want to stand silently and not assist in some way or another, right? Even the non-combative ones, such as August, would obviously be very concerned. But if it's easier for you, August can stay behind with Marlis Stotch and get him calmed down and get him talking, and he can communicate to you in the radios in your vehicles if Marlis remembers anything else of importance, if that works for you guys.
Sounds
in
perfect.
the meantime, I'm going to have Ellie, Lavin, Bear, McLaughlin, and Blink, and Alicia all gear up as well to help you out.
Sounds great.
May I check something real quick?
Sure.
As Ed, just as a quick check, he's going to check if would be just. Do we have just pretzels or something?
What a random ass freaking question is that? Oh yeah, do we have pretzels or something? Like, do you mean like the street like soft doughy pretzels, or like the little like pretzel stick type pretzels?
Little pretzel sticks.
Sure. I don't know if they
Okay.
existed in the 1930s, but I have no reason to say no, to screw
All
you
right.
over for
Where are you going
whatever
with this?
crazy scheme Patrick has in his head now, apparently. All right, what? Sorry, I don't want to sound aggressive. You just really caught me off guard. Fucking pretzels? Your
This is
friends have been
important,
taken by this
Inferno.
horrible
This is
creature, and you're
important.
asking if you have pretzels.
Hey,
All
need road trip snacks.
No. So, just as a quick, Patrick goes over to Malasach, who is obviously frantic, and he goes, as a quick check, eat this.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm not. He says, and he nods, and he eats the salted pretzel, and he breathes in a little bit, and he goes, "What was that?"
Just checking if... I'll tell you later. As he then rushes off.
Wait! He
What?
says, Marlis says before Patrick makes his way down the stairs. Listen, it might be nothing, right? But if that creature sensed us when we were there, then it would have attacked far sooner. It was only after Patterson started to really dig at the earth. This thing, much like its namesake, might lie dormant, asleep, unless something wakes it. Perhaps it is vibration or sound or moving the earth itself. Be wary.
Patrick definitely nods and definitely remembers to bring that belt again. Gotta get that belt.
Gotcha. Out of character, because the chat's confused, you were checking to see if he was a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Changeling.
Yeah, the second he said eat this, I
Oh.
was like, oh.
Also, I double checked on Wikipedia. They were made. They were not mass produced, but perhaps maybe they were from the fair or something. I don't know, but they did have hard pretzel sticks in the 1930s.
Groovy. Well, thank you, Bern. That makes me feel better. Can you imagine someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, these pretzel sticks are not period specific. I am not listening to this anymore.
Like Miss
Goodness
Johnson
knows
shows
the
up next
mistakes I
session. Miss Johnson shows up next session. I told you guys not to make a stink. You brought in pretzel sticks?
In fact,
No outside food. All right.
In fact, it was
Anyway.
started in 1850.
Well, there you you go.
But it was popular by
say,
1930.
There you go. Pretzels were invented by monks back in the Middle Ages, medieval ages too. I was just informed.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway, anywho, where were we? Oh yes, okay. You guys are rushing out now. Last question: how about Sienna? You gonna just leave her in? She's fine hiding out.
I mean,
She has no dog in this fight either.
To be honest, I mean, we already accidentally killed two of her friends, or two people that she was working with, so I'd rather not kill her as well. Plus, she could be around to protect both Marlis and August.
Okay.
agreed.
Works for me. Okay. So, I want Patrick to do a driving skill because I'm going to assume you're trying to make with great haste and be as fast as humanly possible, right?
Yes.
Great.
I would also recommend, because I hate my group and myself,
Okay.
that you have a stronger penalty, because I did mention before that Patrick's not really the greatest when he is awoken.
Sure.
Didn't have his
No,
proper
that's fine.
sleep.
So make it harder by 10 then for sleepy driving.
All right. Let's see. 10.
If my sister's dead, no.
I failed by 8.
Okay, that's fine.
Woo!
That's fine. Failure doesn't mean you crash and everyone dies. It just means you don't get there as fast as you would have initially hoped. Regardless, I know you guys want to converse on what to do while you're driving there, right? So let me just set this up real quick, right? You hear the wind, the night wind rustling against your windshield as Patrick, as best as he can, with his dreary eyes, tries to push the pedal to the metal and push the vehicle as fast as it can to the outskirts of Velda City itself. This is a perfect time to converse, because once you reach the outskirts, you're going to have to. And let me bring up the map again here for you. We'll do the statues in the map, I think. There you go, to give you guys an idea. Wait, I didn't drag you over, did I? I did.
No,
oh yes,
I
I did.
I'm here.
You're there. Good. So, because once you guys reach these outskirts, then whether you go here or further to where they were kidnapped, there's actually. The line's very similar, which is very convenient. But you said we're going to discuss this on the road, and despite as fast as Patrick is driving, it's still an hour away. So maybe it'll be closer to 50 or 55 minutes. But you have some time to chat. So why don't we get that chat over with, so I know where you guys are headed.
Sounds perfect.
Lavin is driving the other car behind you guys, and he's able to keep up.
Cool. All right, so fellas, would we like to start at the beginning of the line or at the end, where our friends are presumably in danger?
So, okay, my thoughts as a player. I don't think we have anything to combat a massive vines pulling us underground. Not really. We might, but it seems to me like our chances would be better going through the tunnel to get underneath instead of trying to go through all those vines. Because, I mean, once we get there, what are we going to do? Dig a hole through them?
That's probably how the vines were activated, was when they were trying to dig instead of go through the maze, which is why I wanted to go through the maze in the first place. Yeah, because traps and whatnot. I think starting at the beginning of the line is the appropriate idea, even though in character, I don't think any character would want to start there.
Right. Well, no, I mean, I get what Tom's saying. You want to go to where the people were taken because that's your instinct. Your instinct is to go to them.
Yeah, you immediately want to help them. You want to help them.
But I would say that I think Al's training at the very least would be like, no, sometimes your instinct's wrong. Sometimes you got to play the smart move, which would be, like you said, start at the maze.
Pat, to hear about it, here's an in-game reason. Patrick goes, they were taken down, and whatever situation they may be in, we're not going to be doing anything trying to take it from the top. We need to go to its roots.
Agreed. I mean, like, out of character, it's the fastest way to get to them is to just let the roots take us down too. I just don't think we'd be in much of a condition to help them.
It's true. We might also be disarmed.
Yeah, so I agree. So I think, Inferno, we are headed to the start of the maze.
Great. Wonderful. So, it is just after 1 o'clock in the morning where you reach the clearing, and Patrick, driving through, you can soon confirm that these gray lines are not roads. The roads snake in a different turn, and in fact, once you get approximately to Highway 15 here, you have to take side roads past some farmland and large, soft rolling plains. You keep an eye on the map, judging it to where you need to go, and you arrive at what appears to be a dried riverbed. There is gravel on the sides of this kind of massive ditch. And that is where you park your car on the gravel outskirts. Your headlights and the headlights of Lavin's vehicle shine out into this small kind of gentle trench that used to have a river, but you'll have to get out to see any further down it, or if any sort of entrance into the underground can be found.
Okay.
What would you guys like to do?
Well, I mean, get out of the car, right? And then start. I mean, I don't have an investigation check.
Just tell me what your character wants to do, and I can take care of the skill checks. Don't you?
Yeah. Al would get out of the car and start looking for some sort of manhole cover or stairs leading downward.
Stairs.
You know what I mean.
There is a mirror on the floor.
There is a mirror. Sorry, I showed the guy. I'll show you after the session, Squee. There's a really great clip of player characters trying to find something. Anyway, Lavin, Ellie, and the rest also get out of their vehicle and begin looking around, grabbing a few flashlights and lanterns from the back of their vehicle. They light them and half of them seem to go atop, I guess, the top of the riverbed, while the other half slide into the riverbed itself and begin searching the area. Tom and Patrick, how about you?
I'm trying to figure out if Patrick has any sort of, not land navigation, that'd be weird. But like a dried riverbed does seem suspicious. Something that was like plugged for a reason.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have any like. I guess I have archaeology, but that's. I'd have to recheck what archaeology can do, but I'm not quite sure if it has anything to do with the land. I guess Patrick would just point out that he seems that it's a little odd that the riverbed has dried. I would assume that would be on purpose.
The only thing I can think of as far as skills would be something like a weird reverse prowl to try and figure out something that's hidden.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to get, brain locked too much. If you, like I said, if you guys just want to search, I'm going to do a general D100 roll for you guys. I know you might be looking for skills specifically. Archaeology, at least intuitively to me, Patrick, is understanding structures or structures of past civilizations and cultures, right? Archaeologists do sometimes uncover evidence of other civilizations, right? But their knowledge is more on the items themselves, not actually the digging, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't see how that skill would be super handy.
All right.
But for all of you who are searching, roll me a D100, please.
Okay.
Do you have any light sources with you, or
Just the headlights.
Yeah.
I have multiple light sources if anybody wants to borrow or need them.
Oh.
Show off.
Holding all of them, he finds
One up
it.
in me.
Both hands full of flash bulbs and magic shooting out of them with light everywhere.
right? So 12, 9, and 48. All right. Give me just a moment, because two of you rolled very, very well, and I'm just deciding who discovers what.
My sister.
No. Not yet. I'm such an
I
ass.
rolled a 12.
So Al, along the edge of the riverbed itself, there is, of course, a variety of growth, vegetation growth, right? Small bushes, hedges, long grasses, etc. It is searching through those that you notice in between some thick hedge work, there appears to be a hole, a simple circular hole dug into the earth that has what looks like a wooden plug perhaps in it. It's almost like a manhole cover, except it's made of wood. It's partially rotted and covered with dirt. And the emblem of it, from what you can see through the rotted wood, seems to be the image of, well, of a bird that might be some sort of lark or stork or something alike. As I mentioned, the wooden plug or cover atop this hole is very soft and pliable. So that's what you discover.
Okay.
Patrick, you discover inside the riverbed itself a section of earth that is wet, that is actually turned into mud, which is extremely strange because it hasn't rained recently, and everywhere else the earth is completely and utterly dry. The size of the mud, for lack of a better word, the muddied section, is about 10 feet long by 8 feet wide.
Is this multiple or just like the single section?
Just one big 10-foot by 8-foot section that is completely and utterly muddy.
Okay.
What would you guys like to do?
Al would say, "Hey, I think I found something."
Patrick will take his eyes off of the muddy spot and go over to Al's voice.
Okay. The others would start collecting your way too.
Al would show him the man cover and say, "I mean, anyone else find a better entrance?"
Found a very odd mud spot.
Mud spot.
Yeah, that's. I have no idea where the liquid's coming from. It, it's not from the riverbed, and it's not from. It's not from the river. It's not from any sort of weather.
So probably came from underground or some external source. Well, let's open this up and see where it leads, and then if that's a dead end, then I mean, gosh, it's very strange, but I don't know how that helps us. It might make it easier to dig, but I'm pretty sure that's not the right option here.
Lee nods a little bit, and he starts wandering over to the direction where Patrick said he saw the mud, and he says, "Don't mind me. I'm gonna check this out myself too."
Al will nod, and he'll say, "All right, well, I'm gonna try and open it up."
Your friends stand by, weapons raised just in case.
Yep.
Good luck.
And Al will attempt to open it.
How? With what?
Can he get a handhold, or does it seem to be way too heavy for just that?
You don't know how heavy it is.
Okay.
There's no clear handle, but there is enough rot for you to probably push your hand in and grab a portion of it.
Actually, maybe a better idea. You said the center is kind of almost like cork, right?
No, I said it. I said the wood cover is kind of like a plug, right?
A plug,
or
yeah,
a manhole. Yeah. The rot's scattered throughout the cover.
Correct. Yeah, you said plug, not cork.
Cork. No.
Al would attempt to take out two knives, just normal knives, and maybe try and dig them in there to make kind of like handholds.
Well, what's your physical strength?
15.
All right. You start stabbing at the. Wait, which knives are you using?
They're vibro blades, though I don't know if that really matters much in this world. They just look like switchblades.
Okay. You start chopping. Well, you start digging your blades into them. Your right blade chips into a harder portion of wood, while the left blade begins to cut into a rotted section, causing, I'd say, about an eighth of the cover to collapse in. And now there's a small, jagged, pie-shaped hole inside the cover. The rotted, chipped wood has descended down into the ground. Looking through, you just see a dark black hole in that little section that you uncovered.
Given that, Al would attempt to kind of put his arm, I don't know if I said this right, put his arm kind of into the pie hole shaped thing to get under the thing and lift.
Sure. You do that. It takes quite a bit of your might to do so, since it's one-handed, but after a little bit of shifting in the earth around, you're able to, with a big heave, pull out the plug completely. A 7-foot diameter hole has been uncovered, and attached to near the entrance of the hole is what appears to be a small chain ladder that goes down and down and down deep into the earth. Your light appears to shine approximately 15 to 20 feet down, seems to be going even lower after that.
All right. Al would
You
say,
start to hear chanting. Oh, hold up a second.
"Oh, sure,
You
sure."
start to hear. Oh, no, that's yeah. We both talked at the same time, so my bad. But after you do that, you start to hear chanting from Lee, and then finally, you hear him converse in a strange language that doesn't sound like anything any of you have heard before. It's very soft and flowing, and he's muttering softly to himself. He pauses for a long time, then continues to mutter. It's like he's on one end of a phone conversation.
Huh.
You guys just gonna wait and see what happens?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he looks busy. I don't want to, like, in the middle of a spell, interrupt his concentration.
Yeah. Continues for some time.
I think Patrick will probably look closely. Again, very similar to Al. He doesn't want to disturb him, but he is very curious.
So what do you do, Mr. Curious?
Patrick will try to approach him at a distance and just kind of maybe see motions, or maybe try to catch something that he was saying.
Uh-huh. So, as you move closer, you can see Lee had put his lantern down by his feet. He is currently sitting cross-legged in the earth in front of the splotch of mud. His eyes are closed, and his head is pointed slightly down. His chin is like resting on his chest, almost like he's deep in thought, but it appears more that he's deep in conversation. Both of his hands are planted deep into the earth itself. And you see him continue to speak. This is not a language or even a close dialect to anything that you're familiar with. What you can tell, however, is that it appears the spell that he cast, or the chant that he was given, has stopped. And if this is in the midst of a ritual, then it's not a ritual that you ever seen before. It honestly looks like Lee is just talking to a bunch of mud. If I can continue, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 more minutes pass, in which Lee then stops talking. He kind of gives a bit of a shudder, and he stands up, dusts off a bit of the dirt from his hands, and he looks towards you guys, and first he finds Patrick. He gives a reassuring nod, and you notice, however, his lips are pale, and Lee's eyes are extremely dilated. He says, "Patrick, Al, I did something that you should never ever do. All old teachers say, do as I say, don't as I do, don't do as I do. But I really mean this. Because of the direness of the situation, I sensed something behind that sluice of mud. It was unnatural. So I, as shifters sometimes do, opened myself up to it, which, considering what we were up against, is not a good idea. I didn't come across a torpid anathema," he says. "I came across something else, something that was hiding from it, hiding from everyone. A very shy water elemental, I think. Either that or some sort of fey folk. It arrived here in this dimension quite by mistake, and has been sitting here, laying here nearby for the past 10 years, barely moving. It's distrustful of the sentient species above here, but it's very terrified of what lies deeper in the earth. I spoke with it for a small period of time, and I wasn't able to understand everything it was saying, and I'm not too sure if it understood me. But I asked it about the thing that lied underneath the earth. And it said that he pauses for a moment and scrunches up his eyes, and he says it's misunderstood or it's reactionary. He says it's more of an animal than a talking, thinking thing like we are. He says that if we were to go into the earth, as long as we're quiet and respectful, it wouldn't attack us. Lee continues, I don't sense any reason why it would be lying to us. But I thought you should know, I also promised it that we wouldn't disturb its hiding spot or tell anyone where it was.
You don't suppose, later, there's a way we can help it, do you?
No, I don't know. Once things aren't as dire, I can come back and try to communicate it with again. Hopefully It won't move very far.
Right, we have more important things to do. So we go down. Maybe the digging is what, like Tom said, what made it angry. So we go down, calm, as quiet as possible. Oh, boy. Patrick, do you have any sort of light that you can drop down that hole?
Patrick says, magically it can only go down so far. Physically, I can just drop one of these torches if you want.
Yeah. Let's see how far down.
He drops. He turns on a flashlight and drops it down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The flashlight goes down the hole, topples for a little while, and then you hear a little crack, and you can see a tiny glint of the flashlight. With your, I'm not gonna have you guys roll a check, but for those of you who have basic mathematics, counting it out the distance, it's probably about 80 to 90 feet into the earth.
Okay. Well, I'll go first, I guess.
Okay. Taking the chain ladder, I'm assuming.
Yeah. No, jumping down. Yeah, no, taking the chain ladder.
All right. Al's first. Who wants to be last? Down.
I'll be last.
Okay. All right. So one by one, you and your motley crew descend down and deep into the earth itself. The chain ladder is sturdy, and it looks almost, it's not rusted. I don't want to say it looks almost new, right? But it looks extremely well built. Although, being a loose chain ladder, it is a little wobbly getting down step by step. But you're all able to do so without any sort of major calamity. As the further and further you get down into the earth, the muskier and dewier the soil around you feels. It looks like the tunnel that you've descended, this little, what you're descending down the ladder, is a perfectly smooth bored hole that doesn't seem to be jagged or anything. Either an expert digger built this up, or perhaps some sort of machine or magic was the cause of this. Regardless, one by one, Al first, pushing your, falling just a few feet till you hit solid earth, enter the tunnel, enter the tunnels underneath. The one by one, once you reach solid ground, looking around in the dark dimness using your light sources, the tunnels before you seem identical in how they were carved out by what you just descended from. The earth itself is absolutely smooth, as if, pieces of, as if people buffed them to a perfect smooth sheen. The tunnel that you're in is 10 feet tall by 20 feet wide. And it's not a perfect circular shape. It's something that resembles more an oval, if anything else. What's more discerning is that behind you, there is nothing but earth. But in front of you, there are 3 separate passages heading in the direction that you want to go.
Okay. Well, Al would pick up the flashlight,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd wait till everyone gets down, and then
They're
start
down.
heading that direction.
Which direction?
Well, really, is there? If there's no obvious reason to choose one or the other, they're all headed kind of the same general direction. Al would just go down the middle one.
Whoa, wait, Al, says Ellie. I don't think we should all just go willy-nilly. What should we do? Should we all just go down the center one? What if it's the wrong one?
I think it's a very bad idea to split everyone up right now.
What?
Al looks to the others. I mean, I get what you're saying, and trust me, no one wants to find my sister faster than me, but if we split up and we run into something we can't handle, that's going to set us back far more than choosing the wrong tunnel.
But we gotta go a really long ways, Al. So we pick the wrong one, and we go, 2 hours in, then we gotta go back. That's 2 hours back by foot. And then we go down another passage, and then we might be wrong there.
And
it might be.
But the alternative is we all go down separate passages, run into something, need help, and have no way of going to help each other. I get what you're saying. And I will look at the others.
Patrick thinks for a second. Well, before we start choosing things, why don't we look for any signature of anything? As he thinks for a moment, this was put here when the man, at least when he had died or recently before his life was ended. So there has to be maybe some foot traffic of them putting this particular object in one of these places. They couldn't have just picked somewhere and never found a way to come back. There has to be either symbol on something, or maybe there's something more on the map?
Well, I'm more than willing to look.
Tracks, says Ellie.
Might be too old, but not many people have been down here, so there might have been older footprints of traffic of people walking from place to place. There might have even been to give worship to the statue. There might have been more recent movement towards it.
Okay. All right. So Al doesn't have any real tracking skills or anything, so might want to rely on someone who does.
Yeah, it's up to you. I can't tell you what your players are doing, right?
Yeah.
So tell me what you guys want to do, and I'll help you out.
So add a character, like I totally agree. I'm all for looking for some sort of sign that might point us in the right direction. But do you guys agree that we shouldn't split up, or do you think we should?
I do not think splitting up is the best idea.
Okay.
Okay. All is one
Um,
pack. I do have track animals, which can be used to try and track humans at a negative 20%.
Okay,
Should I roll
there
that?
You go. If you want to start looking for tracks, then yeah, definitely.
I absolutely would. First one is going to be for animals. I'm gonna roll twice just in case. Or
Well, yeah. Well, tell me what. Yeah, if you're looking for animal tracks, roll for animals.
Yes.
If you're looking for human tracks, look for humans. If you want
All
to
right.
do both, do a roll for both.
I'll do a roll for both. So it's going to be 80 for animals and 60 for humans. I got a 17.
Ooh.
For animals, okay.
Yeah. Humans is going to be a 60. 40.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds. Let me refer to my notes.
No problem.
Okay. Good job, Tom. So it takes some time for your eyes to adjust to the darkness, even with the light source that's all around you. And the air in here is extremely stale and dusky, right? The good news is that because the earth is getting wetter and wetter, although it is not straight out mud, it is damp earth that you're in, which is perfect for tracks. Looking down the right tunnel, you don't seem to find anything. And the left, in the center tunnel, the only tracks that you find are Al's when he started to go part way down there. However, on the left tunnel, you find a pair of tracks, a single pair of tracks, that appear to be made by. And the reason why I had you roll both is because they're not quite human, but they're not quite animal. It's 5-toed for sure, but the toes are splayed out in almost like a star-like pattern. And it appears that there are these small clawed hooks at the tips of each of these toes that dug into the earth. And it is that direction that goes down the leftmost tunnel.
There you go, boys. This tunnel right here. That's where we should go. The footprints seem a bit foreign, but it's the best activity I can find.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go.
Okay. It's going to be quite the walk, quite the journey. So are you good for me taking narrative control for a little while?
Yeah.
Last question. What's your pace?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Al would set as fast a pace as he think Patrick and maybe Lee, could keep up with and still not exhaust themselves.
All right, let me do something a little bit more specific. Ask a more specific question so I can get a more specific answer. Are you running? Are you jogging? Are you walking briskly? Or are you walking? Or are you walking carefully?
Do we have we have the map. From where we are to the X, if we follow this tunnel, do we have any kind of idea of length?
Yeah. It's long.
Okay.
Hold up. It was estimated by Patterson from here to there by driving would take about an hour. So you're looking at a 5 to 6 hour walk, depending on the pace that you take and your stamina.
Right. It's going to have to be a brisk walk then. There's no way that, I mean, maybe the more physically of us could jog for that long, but even I doubt that. Jogging for 6 hours is excessive. So a brisk pace walk.
Okay. Everyone's okay with that?
Yep.
Sounds great.
What's everyone's physical endurance stat?
Patrick's is a 14.
Okay.
Same with Al's.
Okay.
Mine is an 18.
Oh, Jesus, Tom.
Yeah.
You're one tough cookie. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hours pass as you go through these tunnels. Or more specifically, the one tunnel that you chose. And compared to the bends in the map, it appears that you're going the right way. Tom is tracking the footprints, and they seem to be going this entire way as well. The only disconcerting thing, perhaps, is that the gait, or the distance between the footprints, imply long striding legs or an extremely fast pace. A pace that no human being, no natural human being, could sustain for a long period of time. What might be the most disconcerting, however, is how the tunnels themselves don't change one iota. Patrick, being very mathematically and geometrically inclined, you can confirm through observation that the diameter, the size, the smoothness, and the shape of these tunnels hasn't changed one small bit. There is not a sound that can be heard other than the huffs of your own breaths and the quiet whispered conversations between you and your companions. This all changes 4 hours in, when you begin to hear a small, hear and feel what appears to be a small thump, like a heartbeat, reminiscent to that same feeling you got during the ritual grounds when you when you interfered with Verosimov. I'm assuming you guys are just going to keep on going.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe a little more weary, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
creepy.
Soon, the need for your light becomes redundant. Because before you, first it's very, very faint, but it gets brighter each time. An actual red glow, beyond the grayscale of the realities of this dimension. First, it seems like a red light reflected on the foggy, dusky air that surrounds you. And then it's very clear that not only does the light get brighter, but a fog or mist begins to fill up the tunnel as well. The fog doesn't seem to have any sort of ill effects, but as you warily get closer and closer, the thumping begins to become so loud you can hear it in your ears, and the thudding in the bones as you speak. As you walk. I would like all of you to roll me horror fact.
Okay. Which we have a +3 to.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured it's been a while. That one we just roll a d20 and add 3 to it.
Are you
Yep.
not?
And high is good. What's up?
Are you not including when we saved Leon?
What do you
'Cause
mean?
we should have a +6.
No, we have a +3.
We got 3 from Leon and 3 from the Angels.
Yeah,
Yep.
we have a +6.
Oh.
Spirits
Oh
of
God.
Light.
Yeah.
Oh. Oops. I must have forgotten Leon. So +6.
All right. Okay.
Whew.
Al, you succeed. However, Patrick and Tom, you fail. What this is going to be, this is a special horror factor, all right? Which is, for as long as you hear the thudding, you are distracted and uneasy, which means all skill checks you want to do will be at a -10 penalty. Groovy?
Groovy.
Sounds good.
So, I'm assuming you guys are still pushing forward, right?
Yes.
Yes.
As you push forward, the light seems to reflect off the fog or mist itself. Because you see no actual external light source, even down twisting tunnels, oval tunnels underneath, 100 feet down underneath the earth. But what you can now begin to see, poking through the clumps of dirt on either side and the ceiling and the floor of the tunnel, are little bits, little strands of wood and flesh poking out as if roots underneath the earth of a giant tree.
All right.
Now, moving forward, the question is, keeping up your pace, the further and further in, you're going to discover that more and more of these flesh finds, for lack of a better word, get denser and denser. So, do you want to stick to the earth? Do you want to maintain your pace and step on whatever you want to step on? Or what's the deal here?
No. Lee said the thing said to be respectful, so I'm going to slow down so that I don't step on any roots.
Okay. How about Tom and Patrick?
Yeah, I think I'm going to very much attempt to do that. Very similar to Al's reasoning. Maybe stepping on this thing might not be the best idea. A lot of different reasons.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah, I'll try not to bump into any of the vines.
I'll definitely mention I'll lessen my pace to make sure that I don't.
Sure, great. The final 30 minutes of your journey, you all step very carefully to make sure you don't hit any of the vines. And I'm not going to be an asshole and be like, oh, let's determine, a roll for balance to see if you trip or fall. I think that's bullshit, right? You guys all said very clearly that you're going to take your time and step through it. So you're able to do so. No problem. You're able to maintain your balance. And as you watch your feet, you can see these vines, these roots in the earth, lay perfectly still. As you get further and further towards your destination, you can see these roots get wider and thicker, and thorns begin to be brambled up in front of them. It is there that they begin to cluster so close together that you're not able to avoid stepping on them. But before we get to that point, the circular tunnel opens up into a massive den. Absolutely huge. 200 feet by 200 feet. Around you, everywhere, are seething, writhing vines and roots made both of wood and meat. In the very center of the room is this massive pit. Sorry, a massive pit as in the pit of a fruit, not, a pit as in a tunnel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like a peach pit.
Like a peach pit, exactly.
Yeah.
A massive peach pit, hard and rocky. But instead of being made of a seed like a peach pit, it is a seething red and yellow and orange mass. And as it churns in and out, you can see through slivers and holes in its seething flesh a glint of gold. The center of this thing is where all the roots connect. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, all coming in from the earth right into this center. And more importantly, you see figures hanging from the roof, completely covered in these vines, cut but still all in one piece. Your friends, Patterson, Jalea, Yasmin, Ezex, Basilisk.
Okay. They look. Is there any way to tell if they're alive? Can I see breathing?
They are 60 feet, hanging 60 feet away from you, up into the air. It's hard to tell from this.
I miss my eye. I miss my bionic eye. All right. Al would go. Okay. Well, how do we get them down without pissing this thing off?
I'm going to stop for a moment now. As you say that aloud to your friends, every single vine shakes and shudders, causing the figures of your friends to shake and shudder as well. Their eyes are closed, but their mouths open, and each and every single one of them, in their own native tone, speaks in unison. Who?
Al, like, his eyes widen and he thinks for a second, and then he leans in close and whispers to Patrick. He's like, I think it's the anathema. You want to talk to it, or let someone else?
Patrick looks almost shocked at Al. Go, I could.
I'm skilled at talking to people, not plants, and you seem to have a knack for.
That doesn't. Okay. I can. Yes, I'll try to. I've done this many times. He clenches a bit for you can see his fists clenching with the beat of the heart.
Okay.
He goes, greetings. I am Patrick, and I am part of a small group. Who might you be?
The being who sleeps replies in the voices of your friends. Leave. Need to digest. Need to sleep. Need to forget. Go.
Patrick looks to Alan shrugs.
Okay. Al goes, do you mean digest those things in your vines up there?
Yes. Disturbed me. Awake. Need to replenish energy from the ones before. Use me. Tap me. Rouse me. I wish to slumber and forget. Is that so much to ask?
No, of course not. And we have dealt with those that wronged you. They will never bother you again. But is there anything I can do for you to forgive those that disturbed you just now? They are dear to us.
A long pause. You can hear the creaks of the vine and the muscles all around you as your friends sway back and forth.
He's not answering, guys.
I'm waiting. Give me a moment here.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, give me a moment. Give me a moment. I'm sorry. It's not every day you have to role play as this thing. I'm thinking about its motivations and etc. So just give me a moment. He'll respond. Give me a deeper slumber, a longer one where I can never be roused, and you can have them back.
Get out of character for a second. What? I'm Al's gonna lean into his friends. Did he just say to kill him? Or did he literally mean just a deeper sleep?
Deeper slumber. I wouldn't even know where to start with this. I know something with his mind to calm, to ease, to stop, but killing, he does seem to be roused by physical actions, so we might not want to attack it.
Right. Okay. Why don't I ask him? Al turns back around. The only slumber that I know that you cannot be woken from is death, but we don't wish to hurt you.
At that, the tentacles writhe even harder, and you hear the voices of your friends reply, but they sound much more pained as you see the vines around them dig into them even more for a moment. It says, if I wanted death, I would ask for death. I ask for a deep slumber. Too long have you mortals disturbed me every time with reassurances, every time with favors. Ever since the Neil brought me here and I became him, I have not gotten restful sleep. Assure that I will never be disturbed again, and your reward is your friends. If not, I can find room for you. It will just take longer to digest you all, but that is fine. There is enough room inside of me. For a moment, perhaps due to being awoken by the pain, a single voice, low and rough, rumbles out that isn't in unison with the rest of them. The voice of Basilisk, as he says in a hushed whisper, "Bomb implanted inside me. Give the word, and I'll give the code phrase. I said I'd never be captured again, and I meant it. If this is the only way to free you, to free the rest of us, I'll do it. Say the word, and I'll fucking detonate."
Basilisk, calm down. You're dealing with it.
Oh my god.
Well, you gotta give him a break here.
No, I understand. No,
You
I
might
get
not
it.
ever be able to say the-
Basilisk!
Yo,
You stop
can you
that.
calm down? Sir, excuse me, sir.
Basilisk,
I need you to
calm
calm
down.
down now.
Al's trying to be as collected as possible.
Jesus.
I mean, I totally
You
get where
knuckleheads, I swear.
Al will lean into, after he says that to Basilisk, he'll lean into the others. He'll say, "So, I mean, we can give our word. Any ideas on how to actually keep that?" Add a character. I have 2 ideas.
Ooh.
First idea.
Yeah, out of character strategizing is 100% appropriate for this point. Don't worry.
Right.
I have 2 ideas. First of all, we tell him, absolutely. No one's going to bug you ever again. Then, when we get the moment, either one of 2 things, or maybe both. One, Patterson is one of the most obsessed and, for all his insanity, capable people. Because think about it, he did a lot on his own. What if we convince him to be the caretaker or overseer and do everything he can to keep anyone from bugging this thing again? And the other thought is, we talk to Miss Johnson and see if we can't convince her to ensure that no one ever bugs this thing again. Like, if we go along the lines of, he was pretty adamant that if they bug it again, he's going to tear things apart. You don't want Sable Dimension torn apart, right?
Okay.
True. I will also mention the only people that were really, like, bothering him other than us were the Order of the Lapine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which we can just talk to Angus Mackenzie and Rose Mackenzie and say, hey, don't bother with the Torpid Anathema or else he will eat you. Period. It might be a good idea to just never go down that road ever again. And the people who we've already killed, basically. And us. The people who were after the rabbit. But the thing is, we need the rabbit.
Right. Well, so here's the thing, and I want to make sure everyone agrees on this. First things first, we get our people back, and then worry about Rabbit later. And if that means we don't get Rabbit, we don't get Rabbit.
GM,
Right?
I think there's a really important line that I am blanking on really hard.
Okay.
It was something along the lines of, I was trapped in here, or something like that.
What, that the anathema said?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I was trapped in here. Eugene Neal, ever since Eugene Neal brought me here.
And I became him.
And I became him, exactly.
I became him. Eugene Neal.
You know who Eugene Neal is, right?
The guy who made the statues.
Right.
The guy who made the bunny statue. The rabbit.
Okay, so made the bunny statue. Ever since
Made
you
all the
brought
other
me
statues.
here, I'm trapped here. He made the statues, so it's definitely.
Would it be easy? Would you appreciate a little flashback and me give you, because I have it all written down here still. Eugene Neal, the newspaper clippings of Eugene Neal's disappearance and shit.
Uh,
The story of the Golden Rabbit.
yes.
Sure. Yes.
All right. I'm gonna be benevolent and give you a refresher. Okay. So Eugene Neal was a brilliant author, poet, mathematician, and sculptor. Praised in the circles of high art, he nevertheless did not adjust to his highfalutin society very well. As time wore on, he grew more interested in his art to reflect the more raw, visceral nature of the world. He also became obsessed with what he called natural equations, mathematic formula that could be found in nature, the rings of a tree, the angles of the natural landscape, the patterns of wildlife. Eventually, all of his artistic work were simple metal replications of animals, like the 7 that you've gathered. Then, on his 58th birthday, 12 years ago, a note was sent to the Velda City Virtue, one of the local newspapers. Enclosed was Eugene Neal's suicide letter, in which he proudly proclaimed that after finishing his most wondrous work of art, the Golden Rabbit, he realized he could do no better. His life mission complete, he has hidden himself and the Golden Rabbit away into the bosom of nature itself, only to be found by those who truly understand his work. He maintains that the last 7 of his sculptures provide a clue as to the location of his remains and the Golden Rabbit. And then there are the sculptures, right? In addition, a note that you uncovered in last session in Albert Sweet's possession implied that Verosimoth, actually you have I can show you the letter again. Give me a second.
Yeah, we still have the letter.
You still have the letter. Show the players.
Yeah.
Where it says that it's true that the torpid anathema, the great one who slumbers, is an excellent result of such a failure. Oh, wait. This will mark the 15th anniversary of your disastrous attempts to manipulate Neal into your vain attempt to usurp control of Sable. If you need to repeat any of that or anything in regards to that, that's fine.
Christ. I think I know what's happening.
Well, why don't you tell the class there, young Tom?
Okay, so there's a giant peach pit, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was obsessed with, the machinations of nature and all of that stuff, and how... Oh, Christ. I think that he is the torpid anathema. He is the peach pit. And the rabbit is inside the peach pit.
I'm following you. I think that he called something forth and merged with it to become the torpid anathema.
Something
or it
like
became
that.
Him, something like that. So, but hang on.
Like a seed grew inside of him and became this. Because he was obsessed with plants and... Oh.
And also to explain the 3-year difference between the... Oh, wait. Why am I helping you? Shut up, Inferno. Let them figure it out on their own.
Also, it's possible that without the Golden Rabbit, whatever was brought here cannot... Maybe it's anchored here. And if we took the Golden Rabbit, it would not have an anchor, and it could go back to where it came from. Thus, no one could bug it. Though, that leading down that chain of logic, if manipulating this thing usurps control of Sable, maybe without this thing there is no Sable. But
no, it was trying to usurp control, meaning that
this thing controls Sable.
No, it sounded like Verosimov tried to usurp control of Sable, but they failed.
Right.
She failed.
Which means either this thing somehow controls Sable, or this thing is powerful enough to influence the control of Sable.
I think the
I
second
think
one.
it's the latter. I think it's the latter, and
I agree.
I think what happened was they could have tried to bring forth a being that they could, control and, take power from Sable, and instead they have this sleepy boy.
Fuck your memes.
I'm sorry, but
No, it's fun. No. I say that endearingly, not because that's funny as shit. Summons. What would win? One Verosimov, one sleepy boy. All right. Anyway.
yeah, like I think what's happening is the Guardians don't want they understood that this happened, so they don't want anybody to take the Golden Rabbit and possibly bring forth something that isn't a sleepy boy to take over Sable. And by taking this and just leaving, we could be saving Sable.
Agreed.
But oh, jeez. We need to try and get the rabbit.
Yeah, well, why don't we just ask? Like, what if we say, hey, if we follow the hypothesis that without the Golden Rabbit, this thing might go home, that sounds like what it wants.
Yeah?
It might just give it to us. So we can at least ask. And then failing that, we can ask for the Golden Rabbit. Like, if that doesn't take it home, I think the next step would be talk to Miss Johnson and be like, look, I mean, people cannot bug this thing. We took out the people who were trying, but it's pissed.
Yeah.
But do you guys want me to ask about the Golden Rabbit and that hypothesis, or?
Yeah.
I can give it a whack.
Yeah, sure, Patrick, by all means.
Patrick thinks with 3 dudes and 1 GM in his head talking over about what's happened. And he goes, I'm trying to understand the entire situation, but if I am not mistaken, would the thing called the Golden Rabbit be anchoring you here?
Anchor.
Keeping.
Yes. Not the right word speaks all your friends' voices in unison, but the premise is similar. The Golden Rabbit is what is left of Neil, and I am Neil, and I am also not Neil. We are together, connected, me and it, flesh and creation, meat and metal. If it were severed, I do not know what would become of us. I do not know if my consciousness, my awareness was born when I arose. I was something low. I was something beast. And then Neil came and gave me thought and knowledge and passion. But I don't want such things. I just want to dream and forget. Because Neil also brought memory of betrayal and loss. I do not like the memory. I want to sleep.
Patrick will probably then say, I can try to help you forget. Would you allow me to?
Yes, but trickery will end in death. Not just you, but your friends. I had others who said they would help, but instead They used my power to warp more flesh. Do not make the same mistake.
Okay, then.
Patrick stops for a second.
No pressure!
Are you a part, or are you the golden rabbit?
The golden rabbit is not me, but merely a body part.
Alright, out of character. Hey, we can try to remove the golden rabbit, and I think everything will turn out fine. But, just a theoretical thing, if it pisses it off, or if it pisses it off, that would be really bad. I don't know a way to actually check if that's the case. What about you guys?
Why don't we just ask it? We are going to try to remove the golden rabbit because we think that's what gets you what it wants. We're not 100% sure, though. And then at least we can say, hey, don't get mad. You signed consent.
This is the weirdest version of doctor-patient consent I've ever seen. All right.
We think that the connection to the bad memories might be the golden rabbit. Would it be we would like to remove this from you, if that would be okay.
You may attempt. You speak words of an attempt to help, and so did the others. I will warn you this, though. If I begin to feel pain or discomfort, I will warn you, but I will warn you once. Then I will act.
Patrick looks at Al. You're the doctor. I know a thing or two about plants. You
Right.
want to try for a go? He stops for a second. This beating
Okay.
is. He swifts his hand back and forth like a never mind motion. I'll try my hardest to give any help I can, but I think you're probably the best one to remove something without pain.
Right. Okay. Sure. Hang on as I look at a spell.
How about you, Tom? Is there anything, skill check or anything that you're wondering, anything about with?
Well, I mean, he said without pain.
You
let's
just bring
see.
pain, so yeah. Let's see. Fire,
Yeah,
fire,
I've got-
fire.
Yeah, I've got fire.
You like fire?
Maybe.
I can tumble for you. I can do a backflip.
I've got a couple of vibro swords. Maybe I could use cooking to.
You know.
All right, so I need a GM
Nah, I've got nothing.
ruling on
Yeah,
this.
All right.
Or
Hey, I'm
even
a GM.
just
I found a GM.
Sure.
Hey, what's up?
So paralysis lesser.
Uh-huh.
My thought was maybe I can, let's say I need to cut into the pit or something to remove the golden rabbit. I could
Uh-huh.
try casting paralysis on it to deaden the sensations. I have no idea if that works.
You know what? There's only one way to find out.
That's true. Okay. Al's
And
like,
you're gonna kill your sister. Do.
I know, right? Al, because here's the thing,
All
guys.
six.
They're 60 feet above us. There is jack and shit we can do to help them. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
necessarily true, but yeah. Al's going to go up to the pit and put a hand on it and say, "Is the golden rabbit in here?"
Okay, well, let me describe this for a second.
You, as your hand's like right next to the golden.
Yeah. First of all, you have no hand left. No, just kidding.
Again?
No. So as you walk towards the pit, you begin to stand on. You have to, right? Stand on the 20 wooden, fleshy vines that make up now the floor of this massive room. And as you step, you can feel the roots tense underneath your feet, almost like a reflexive muscle, but not in a ready to attack, but to make itself more sturdier. So it's less squishy and more, taut, for lack of a better word. As you move over towards the pit and you reach out with your bare hand and you press up against it, you feel almost like, I don't know if you actually have had to do any sort of surgery and put your hands on any sort of organ itself, but it's like touching the raw inner organ of a heart or a kidney or a bladder, right? It's soft and throbbing and wet. As you ask, is the rabbit in here? Your 5 companions say in their own voice, yes. Be careful.
Al will nod. Not that that matters.
As your hand is against the pit, as I mentioned before, it is a thronging, moving mass. Imagine about 30 or so snakes writhing around a circle or sphere. But instead of snakes, of course, it is instead a big hunk of flesh. But it's not completely uniform. From time to time, for a few seconds at a time, there are gaps in between this throng of flesh and this pit, right? And within, now you can see very closely, the gaps themselves are about 4 inches wide. And you can see a glimmer of beautiful golden light reverberate through these gaps as they pass by you.
Okay. Al will say in a loud, clear voice, he's going to be very detailed explaining, like, I am going to cast a spell that I hope will make this hurt much less. And then I'm going to take a very special knife blessed by a being that knows only light and love. And I am going to remove the golden rabbit. I will do no more damage than absolutely necessary. You have my word.
Just a squelching of meat and the crackling of wood is its response.
And then Al's like, all right, Al, time to put your money where your mouth is. And he will cast Paralysis Lesser on it.
So now it's going to say versus magic.
Okay.
Oh. Now, don't you have some sort of
I
bonus that
do.
makes it a little bit harder?
I
What's
do
the
have a
modifier?
tiny bonus. Let's see here. +2. So it makes it harder by 2.
All right, so now only gets a +4.
Oh, is that all?
I think it saves. Because save versus spell magic, I believe, is a
It's just
12.
12. Yeah, it's a 12.
It
But the thing
saves.
is,
Mhm.
Al doesn't know that.
That's true. Al doesn't know that.
Oh, boy.
So now this is what we're going to do, Al. Because what this takes is You're a doctor, right?
Uh-huh.
You have medical doctor and you have a surgery skill, right?
Uh-huh.
Now and that's a perfect thing for excising something out with calm hands and not hitting anything important. That's what surgery is pretty much all about. You cut someone open, you take out or put something in important without screwing anything up, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to give you a penalty because this is non-human, because your surgery skill is more about the careful movements, right? But I'm also not going to give you a bonus because the anesthetic didn't work.
Right.
All right. So speak now or forever hold your peace. If there's something that you want to do or even metagame knowledge that you think would give you a positive modifier, because I can't think of any negative modifier.
So
Ooh, I can think of one, but I'm not going to be mean. Because it's all moving flesh, it might be a little bit trickier, but I won't be an asshole about it.
the only thing that I can think of, and I was thinking about this from the start, I don't know. Because Al has no way of knowing, there's no physical indication if something has worked or not.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking about casting it many times.
You can cast it as many times as you want. Patrick?
What I could do, I could cast Armor of Ithin on it. If you're able to move it, like I know that you have to. Okay, so if you need to not nick anything, like if you just need to remove it without actually like cutting into it, I can do that. If you do need to cut into it, that would be a problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain I need to cut into it. Yeah.
No.
Would the cutting need to be from a doctor's hand or a skilled swordsman hand?
Well,
Ooh.
I think that when it comes to trying to cut something open, doing as little damage as possible, that is not what swordsmen are trained to do.
They're horde to hack and kill. Hack and
Okay.
kill. All right, anyway.
I'm gonna get a drink then. You guys have fun.
Sorry. Yeah, Armor of Ithin I don't think would help too much. The only thing I could think of would be like Armor of Ithin around everything but the point he needs to cut. But
I love thinking outside the box, but Armor of Ithin is typically like literally a suit of armor on a humanoid or humanoid-like body. This thing is not a humanoid.
I see.
You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
All right. I think
And also, Armor of Ithin doesn't provide gaps. Otherwise, it'd be a pretty shitty spell.
Yeah.
Good point. So I think I'm just going to cast it. I wouldn't want to cast it too much though, because again, like on the other hand, I don't want to paralyze it into death or something. So you know what? I think I would just say it's a big thing. I'm going to cast it 5 times, including the one I just did. So 4 more times.
All right. So since it's a big thing, you'll have to tell me. So are you focusing? Are you okay? Now here's the big question. Now,
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna focus that energy? Because once again, paralysis minor is for an extremity, right?
Right.
Well, I would argue that all the things writhing around are kind of like extremities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can cast it on one thing, but it might keep moving around. You know what I mean? And you don't know whether it's effective or not. So I'm assuming you're just doing it 5 times on 5 different things at the hope somewhere along the line, if you have to cut into one of these things, it might not feel it.
Yes.
Okay.
And focus on those. Yeah.
Okay, great. Perfect. Yeah, so you're going to kind of keep track of them as much as you. They're not spinning around super fast, right? They're writhing slowly, but they're still writhing.
Okay.
So, all right. So you did 1. Now, so you have to mark off the PPE for this too, dude, because this
Already
might be
done.
super important. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, roll it. Roll. So I do 4 more saves, right?
Correct, sir.
1. Oh, 1 failure. 2 failure. 3 failure. 4 failure. Okay. Now, that's good. That gives you I'm going to say a 3% each success. So that's going to give you a 12% bonus to your surgery skill.
Okay. So I am at 82%.
Okay.
So he's going to take Sharp, the Blessed Blade, because I don't know. It makes him feel better. And here we go.
Ooh, hold up.
Ooh.
What setting is Sharp on? Plastic thing, remember?
Right. Just regular. Well, in this universe, I don't believe there's a difference between SDC and mega damage, so just
No.
SDC. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great.
Okay.
Then, because typically you do surgery with a scalpel, so an actual knife might make things a little bit tricky.
Well, hang on.
Let's
me see
just.
if
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have a. Oh yeah, I have my medical kit, so I'd have a scalpel. And
There
you're
we
absolutely right. I just wasn't thinking about that.
Uh-huh.
So I never mind. I'd be using a scalpel.
Okay, so since you're using a scalpel, I won't put any. So you're at 82.
Okay. So, and 58. So I succeed by however many, 68, 78, 23.
All right.
No, 24.
Well, all right. So you carefully begin. You're keeping track of the 5 different, for lack of a better words, fleshy tubes that are writhing amongst about you. Right? You bring out your hands. You try to make the gap that you found a little bit bigger, but it's clear that you're going to have to cut into some of the flesh. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So very carefully, guiding your knife, cutting small sections out of way, testing, waiting to hear some sort of response, and you don't hear it, you begin to very slowly, very carefully cut out small sections to make these little gaps bigger and bigger and bigger until you get one approximately gap 1 foot wide. And as you cut into this flesh, by the way, it first doesn't appear to bleed at all. And inside, it almost looks like bits of twig inside of a blood vessel. But it is only until about a 20-second delay that this horrible, thick crimson ichor, a deep red that's almost black, begins to ooze out of the cut wounds. But still, no big response. That 1 foot gap has been made, enough for you to peer in, and inside, caked in flesh, the base of the statue of a golden rabbit, but you can see its chest, head, and ears exposed and glinting with a beautiful golden light. It looks like the mass of flesh that it's attached to is quite firm. If you want to get rid of it, you'll have to cut and excise that too.
Yep. He's gonna have to. I mean, it's better. It's gonna do far less damage that way than just trying to rip it out. So yes.
All right, roll it.
Okay. Same exact roll.
Same roll.
All right. Whew. Even better.
40. Excellent. Carefully cutting around, pressing your scalpel against the edge of the statuette, cutting a few times, waiting for a response, cutting, waiting, waiting. You're able to separate the flesh from the statue itself. All it requires is one final strong tug. For Tom and Patrick, you can see over the next 5 minutes concentration on Al's face as he's pushing his hands inside of this thronging, massy, wooden, fleshy pit. But you hear no response, either from the tentacles or, vines surrounding the room, or in the voices of your 5 captive friends. So, one final tug.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Oh, you literally just had to say, I tug.
Oh,
Gotcha.
well,
I surgically tug at it.
Surgeons make the best tuggers. No. With that, you rip the golden rabbit out from the massy pit in which it lay in for years and years and years. You tug so hard that you stumble back on your feet. And Patrick and Tom, you can see a slightly bloodied, mottled golden rabbit, a statue 2 feet tall and 1 feet wide in Al's grasp. Moments after the golden rabbit is tugged away, everything starts shaking. Your friends, the vines, the wood, everything. And by shaking, I don't mean an earthquake. I mean a trembling. That heartbeat sound and feeling has now quickened to an insane pace. The heartbeat of a racer or a racehorse, just a constant thud, 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 as the meaty vines begin to retract back into the pit itself. The vines hanging your friends also begin to pull into the pit itself. However, the bodies of your friends also, as they're drawn towards the center, lower and lower, lower towards the earth, the grip that the vines had over them has also slackened considerably, and they slump onto the ground unconscious. Over the next few minutes, all you can see is a retraction above, beside, underneath you of these vines. In fact, so much, Al, you have to leap to one side lest you be tripped by the vines underneath your feet. There isn't a sound, not a single roar, nothing. Just that thudded heartbeat as all those vines begin to whip around, much as they encased your friends. It is now, those vines are now encasing the core itself, wrapping around like hundreds of snakes and serpents, writhing into a giant ball again and again and again. In fact, the centered mass has so many vines around it, it's beginning to fill up this entire 200-foot entranceway. It's getting less and less, there's getting less and less space. And if you don't act soon, the unconscious bodies of your friends might begin to be inadvertently surrounded by these vines whipping around the center.
Well,
Patrick will try to move them.
Okay. Under Patrick's directions, your other friends, obviously, Lavin, Ellie, Bear, McLaughlin, etc., Alicia, Blink, also grab their companions and desperately pull them out towards the mouth of the cave entrance, or the tunnel entrance. As you do so, more clumps of earth begin to spill in from above and beside. Those perfect tunnels that were so smoothly bored out behind you have now become jagged and ruined as the vines themselves are pulled and tugged out of there. After an extremely long time, and this horrible rumble of earth and that heartbeat, the vines around the pit begin to slow down in their writhing. This massive being now, 150 feet full of meat and wood and that thumping sound. The heartbeat begins to now slow down back to its regular steady thump, and then slower still, and then slower still, until It's just once a minute you hear a final thump. And soon after, it appears that the being itself begins to implode in on itself. It begins to lose mass as something that's now missing from its core is being sucked in and in and in. And as you watch, you can see this being begin to suck in into something the size of a quarter, until even then, every little tiny bit of flesh and wood is gone. And all that you're left with is a massive hole in the middle of the ground, clumps of earth still falling from the ceiling, and silence. The dimension has not shifted or changed. Everything is still black and white. And your friends begin to rouse from their unconsciousness. Jordan? Cries out, obviously, Jalea.
Al would rush over to her and kind of like, put her head in his lap or, help her sit up. Depends on what condition she's in, but he would rush to her and say, "It's okay. It's all right. Everything's okay now."
All your friends have small lacerations on their arms, legs, torsos, and face, but these are flesh-deep wounds. It doesn't appear to be any sort of internal injury. It just requires some bandaging and some TLC.
Got it. Yeah. And he would look up and say, "Well, I think that worked."
Yeah, I think so too. We got the rabbit?
Yeah, I got the rabbit.
All right.
Are you guys, everyone? And actually, no. You know what? Al would hand over the rabbit, and he would start, because what Inferno just told me would take time to discern, I would assume. So Al would start assessing everyone.
As I said, doesn't look like there's, same thing. Ezex is the second one to rouse up, and he says, "Holy shit, I thought we were done for. And you asshole," as he looks over towards Basilisk, "you were about to blow us all up." Basilisk gives a shrug, and he says, "Seemed like a good idea." Yasmin just says, "Can we get the hell out of here, please?"
Yeah, it's a bit of a long walk. You guys up for it?
Patrick says yes, but in 10 minutes we'll see what happens.
Yeah. If it gets us out of here, just give us a few minutes give me at least a few minutes, says Jalea, to get my head. It was awful. It was absolutely awful.
I'm sorry.
No, you what were you apologizing for? Says Yasmin, almost impatient. You saved my ass. You saved all of our ass. She looks down on the ground. And after a little while, all your friends are sturdy enough to get on their feet. It's not a long pace, but you're in no rush anymore by the sounds of it. And if you like, we can wrap up the session with you guys re-emerging by that dried riverbed. Some fresh air in your lungs, the the noonday sun on your shoulders, bright and out of the dark. If there's anything you want your characters to discuss amongst yourselves or the NPCs in the meantime, feel free. Feel free to discuss.
Al would simply make, basically, after he says to everyone, maybe when everyone starts going, he would say, "I can help heal anyone's wounds, though given some of us, I completely understand if you'd rather it just heal the old-fashioned way, and I can treat you all when we get back.
Julia and Yasmin would prefer the old-fashioned way.
Figured.
Basilisk and Ezex, normally they would put on a pretty tough upper lip, but they wouldn't mind the healing. And of course, Peterson, who was the slowest and groggiest of them all, would also accept any sort of help.
Sure. So, I mean, I've got 54 PPE left. I'll use as much as I need to get them back up to...
How much does your healing spell cost per shot?
Each one per shot, let's see here, is... Come on, roll up.
You said 54, right?
Yeah, 54. It costs 10 per casting,
Okay,
and it's
so
3d6
that's
SDC. Mm-hmm.
So 5, and it gives 3d6 SD. All right, one shot on Basilisk, Patterson, and Ezex would pretty much heal most of it up. So
Okay.
take
That's
off
good enough.
30.
All right, will do. Have done.
Peterson, halfway through the tunnels, would say, I can't believe it's... Oh, I can't believe it. He says, just in general, I can't believe any of it, but there it is in your hand, and there that was behind us. I'm sorry about my mistake. I just got so excited I thought it was there, but the prize is won, and you'll be off with this soon, I take it.
Yes, it would be best if this was far away from here.
Yes. A part of me wants to know where you're going to go, my out-of-town friends. But the other part of me is starting to realize that ignorance is bliss. Some ignorance, not all. And I still have my transmundane, and there are still 5 more out there. Plenty more for an old fool to get after.
Well, I can satisfy your curiosity at least by simply telling you that we are searching for something, and the honest truth is, we have no idea where we're headed next.
What are you searching for? Asks Patterson.
There is a grave threat where we're from to many, many people, and we believe that somewhere, not in this town, but in some place, there is someone or something that could help us, information. That is what we're searching for, and we are going wherever that search takes us.
And the Golden Rabbit?
One small key towards furthering our goal.
Well, I wish I could tell you, but I have no idea. I've known many mysteries and secrets, but nothing about a world ending. Not even close. I'm sorry.
You've done more than enough.
Yes, almost got us all killed, by the sounds of it. Yeah. We're alive. We still breathe. That's fine.
And I would say, cheer up. The golden rabbit here. And he'll actually let him hold it. You've been hunting for this. We wouldn't have it without you.
Patterson takes the golden rabbit, and as he does so, his eyes grow wide. And he quickly seals it back, gives it back to you. He says, No! I felt it. Neil! I heard Neil's voice the second I touched it. You hear nothing?
No.
Well, you never knew Neil, did you?
No.
I did. I knew his wife. Strange, you see. The guilt. Strange. Well, don't want it. It's best it's in your hands then. I never want. Poor fellow.
That's it. That's all. I'm done.
Okay. All right. Well, we can just wrap up the session then.
Mm.
That
Sounds
works
good.
for you guys. I'm excited because there is going to be no small, like I said this before. I can't remember if it's in between sessions or whatever, but Tyrath isn't going to give you a pound in the head and a cookie. You know what I mean? Like the deal was he would give you something extremely handy, or he would give you information that was extremely handy to find these travelers that are know about the swarm, and he'll repay on that for sure.
Well,
But I guess it's only fair for you to get back to the Rhapsody and your tattooed lady friend and a chunk of stone.
Yeah.
And go from there.
I also have a theory as to what the purpose behind the golden rabbit is, but we can talk about that off the air.
Yeah.
I part of me feels bad that we got those people that Tyrant sent killed. The other small part of me, especially like when Patrick was talking to me, is like, "You got me killed, buddy. We didn't try and swallow the thing."
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. No,
You know
I
what?
mean,
Better them than you, I guess.
oh,
Right?
absolutely.
It's true.
Wait, that's horrible. But yes.
Anyways.
Screw the NPCs.
Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next time. Don't forget that next week Sunday is
Easter.
Easter Sunday. We very likely won't have a session on Easter. However, we might have one a day or two beforehand or a day or two after. Or we might just skip it. We'll just pay attention to our Twitter. And we'll see you then. Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.